Hi, I'm Shane.
I'm Kelsey.
And that's Dixie. And we're Love Hut for Life. We've now been on the road for 65 weeks in our self-built sliding campers / tiny home on wheels.
This week, we've been traveling across southern Arizona on our way to a bunch of nomad meetups, and we've run into a lot of friends along the way.
Make sure you leave us a comment below and tell us what you think about this week's episode, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
Our week started in Tubac, Arizona, having a mini photo shoot for some of the crystals that Kelsey wrapped the previous week.
By happy mistake, the night before, we had wound up on some state land right outside of the Coronado National Forest. We didn't have time to explore, but it made for an awesome drive out of there the next morning.
The theme of this week's video is, when you find out your friends are 30 miles away from you, you just say yes.
Our buddies Dave, Carrie, and Rudel were actually some of the first nomads that we met. Just 2 weeks into our time on the road, we were invited to a tiny house festival in Orlando, Florida, where we met a lot of really cool people, including the 3 that we were going to see today.
It had been a complete year since we had seen Dave and Carrie, and we were both excited to get to their camp. Once we arrived, we had the fortune and opportunity of meeting 2 other nomadic souls, Gabe and Caroline.
We all enjoyed an absolutely beautiful sunset over the Buenas Aires National Wildlife refuge, and then a bottle of rum around a nice campfire.
This is the desert life I was missing. So we're sitting here in the rain, and I pulled out my phone to check the weather, and we've discovered that it's going to thunderstorm today and then rain all day tomorrow with winds of 27 miles an hour, and then it's gonna snow all night. It's so nice being close to the Mexican border.
We had time for a little bit of socializing and fun before the rain hit again.
And I did a lot of this while Kelsey and Dixie did some exploring.
So these are the roads out of here. It might be a little while before we get to leave this spot. Me and Dixie spent our afternoon inside our new friends Gabe and Caroline's house, while everyone else slept for the afternoon.
The next morning, we were all relieved to have some time outdoors in the sun and giving love to our 4-legged friends.
It's so cold outside that you can see when the steam hits the window, it's rolling smoke off of it. Desert life.
What you cooking?
Taters. What am I always cooking?
Check it out, guys. It's snowing 20 miles from Mexico. Oh, that's cold.
outside. You wanna go outside? Get the dog.
Dixie, come on. Baby, get out of bed. Come on.
Puppy, come on.
Dixie, you have to go outside. Don't you have to potty?
Come on. Come on. That's not so bad.
Good morning. Hi, Roodle Doodle. Hi. Hi. Do you like the snow? I don't think Dixie agrees. All right, guys, I think everyone knows that I am not a big fan of the snow, but I do have to say that having it happen here 20 miles from Mexico was a weird enough occurrence that I enjoyed playing in it with my friends.
The snow and cold winds did provide us with a nice solid path out of there as we said our very temporary goodbyes to our friends.
We do have to brag on our truck biggin for a little bit here. Last year, this would have been an absolutely terrible drive for us. But because of the upgrade in tires that we made, it was actually really nice. And because of the heater inside the truck, I was enjoying our little time in Winter Wonderland.
I personally started enjoying the drive more when we crossed over our first Border Patrol immigration checkpoint, which happened to be the snow line.
We made a quick stop for some Mexican food and then headed to the warmest place that we knew. Last year when we were in this area, we knew of one spot that we could go to that was always going to be about 5 to 10 degrees warmer.
Ajo, Arizona, one of our favorite places. It's covered in cactus. It is actually home of the Organ Pipe Cactus monument, which is the only place in the world you can see that particular type, as well as sequoias, rock formations, mountains. We can't get enough of this place.
We showed up just in time for an awesome sunset and with enough daylight left to explore a little bit. The next morning, that exploration continued. We needed to head west, and we knew that, but we weren't ready to do so without doing a little bit more exploring in one of our favorite areas. We found the Organ Pipe Cactus and did a little bit of driving it through absolutely beautiful rolling hills of every type of cacti you can imagine.
As much as we would like to stay here longer, we had some road to cover. Around 200 miles to be exact to make it to our desired destination for the night, Quartzite.
We made it almost exactly halfway to Tonopah, Arizona, where I realized that we spent a lot of time here last year, and I never really got to explore or see the ground that I've heard stories of being covered with fire agate. Last year I couldn't walk, and this year I was bound and determined to take a walk through Tonopah.
With all of the rain the region's been having lately, it makes coming to this location optimal for finding fire agates. These calcine fire agates were formed from water meeting lava flow many years ago, and now you can find these specimens laying just on top of the ground in these dark puddles of lava rock that you find all around the region.
Within just an hour or so of looking, we had a bucket full of rocks soaking in soapy water. We set up camp to enjoy an absolutely beautiful sunset with some pretty cool visitors stopping by to say hello.
And then we got a phone call and we found out the Nelson boys were at a hot spring just right down the road, and we just said yes.
We hit the road with our bucket of soapy rocks in between my legs with absolutely no idea what this night had in store for us. El Dorado Hot Springs is a campground that charges $45 a night and is directly behind a truck stop. So definitely not something that either of us would have been down to check out on our own. But hanging out with the Nelson boys is always an adventure. So we decided that we would check out the situation. We were escorted down a bamboo pathway where we encountered a pig and a few peacocks on our way to a private hot spring that he had booked for us for the night. The next morning, our peacock friends came back for a visit.
We headed back down our bamboo path in the daylight this time and headed for some public soaking and hot showers.
When we got back, we sat around the campfire for a little bit longer, played some music, and then hugged our buddies goodbye. It was time for us to head west, for real this time.
Before headed to Quartzite, we had to stop by Parker for some unexpected errands. which put us in close proximity to, you guessed it, more friends.
In very close proximity to Parker is Lake Havasu, where, if you remember, we spent a lot of time last year. This is actually where Shane picked up a bartending job for about 3 weeks before the coronavirus hit. We were pumped to find out that right down the road in Craggy Wash, the chosen family was hanging out in a very familiar spot. A large portion of our tribe had all gathered in one place. We pulled up to have Zach, Mary, and Bear, along with Joe and Van, and James and Amy, and a slew of new friends waiting for us. This is a perfect way for us to start off our festival season.
We call meeting back up with this tribe coming home for a reason, because it's not about the location of where we meet, but more about the people that we are surrounding ourselves with.
Meeting up with our chosen family is always a blast, and this time it had been months since we'd seen each other, so we had a lot to catch up on. All of us are super excited for the weeks to come as we prepare to go to Schoolypalooza and many other meetups in the area.
I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we certainly did. It was a fun ride across southern Arizona. We are now headed to Schoolypalooza 2021. We're looking for at least a couple hundred different types of rigs, between school buses and vans to anything in between.
That's right, guys. We are super excited about this meetup. We want to take the time to say that we appreciate each and every one of you who are following us along on this journey. Last week, we asked you to tell us some of your other favorite nomads that have YouTube channels so that maybe we can meet up with them. Once again, guys, if you know anyone who is going to be at Schoolypalooza and you'd like for us to meet them, comment below and we'll try.
While you're commenting below, also hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up for this video. If you have a moment, also check out some of our other social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and a Patreon account.
That's right, guys. We will see you next week with a lot of new stories to tell. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, y'all.